Hi, this is Tyler Muffly. I'm sorry I'm not there in person. I'm just really not feeling well. And today is the first inaugural CREOG school lecture. We'll be having a CREOG school lecture with high yield topics from all areas of OBGYN. And today we're going to start off with a short discussion about the CREOG examination, what it is, what it isn't, and what do the scores really mean. I'd like to thank Peter Hong, who's done a lot of work in this area. The the bottom line is that CREOG scores are underappreciated tools, and we can convert the scores to a percentile that allows us to compare our performance to other residents' performance in terms of knowledge depth and test taking skills, the progress of our own learning, and the risk of failing the written board examination. And so I'm not just here because I want to torture you. I'm here because I do not want anyone to fail their written board examination. It's a major speed bump in your career and your life, and I want to spend this 4 years together trying to get you ready to take these tests confidently and pass your exam. So we're looking at multiple different categories: general consideration, primary and preventative ambulatory healthcare, obstetrics, gynecology, reproductive endocrinology, endocrinology, oncology, genomics, for about 323 questions. The general considerations includes some statistics questions, some experimental questions. I remember one year that I took the CREOG. There were questions about men and their rods and cones in their eyes, so they're always testing out questions for the next year as well. All right, misconceptions. These are all fallacies that similar scores in subsequent years will happen even if you don't read. The test actually gets harder and harder and is graded harder and harder for each person in each year. Occasional reading will significantly increase my CREOG score. Unfortunately, that's not true. We know that the depth and breadth that's required is not just a cram session the weekend before. And then the CREOG provides little or unknown value and risk assessment towards failing the ABOG written exam. And so there's about 1,100 residents in training at each level nationally, 1,100 PGY1s, 1,100 PGY2s, et cetera, and so if we take that 1,100 group, we know that 550 of these residents would score less than the score of 200, which is the median, and 50% would score above this level. If we look at 180, we're looking at 16% of the test takers who scored below this line, or 176 residents, and 84% of the test takers scored above the line. So 924 residents were more skilled at test taking than the residents who scored at this line. And for a score of 160, we're seeing that 2% of test takers scored below this line and 98% of test takers scored above the line. So CREOG is the only standardized national examination administered to residents. All residents take an in-service exam on a yearly basis. General surgery has the ABSITE, which is their yearly in-service exam. CREOG is the in-service exam for OBGYNs. CREOG assesses resident education and is really a self-education tool about how you're doing. And then ABOG is the overarching organization that says if you can or cannot be boarded to practice. And so the ABOG does a written examination and an oral examination for all OBGYNs graduating from residency, and these tests are determining if you pass or fail. And ABOG, USMLE, COMLEX, these are all tests that you've done in the past that tell you if you pass or fail. Unfortunately, in our program, we've had people who have failed the written and or the oral, and about 15% of residents who graduate fail the test, the written test each year. The score of 200 is the national mean, like we talked about, and then these 15% lines are about 20 points outside on either direction. The same scores in each year does not mean that you are doing well. Unfortunately, the test gets harder and harder each year, and so the average resident needs to increase their knowledge by about 12 to 19 new facts each year in order to keep their score the same. So we're talking about, this is based on a curve, just like most things in nature, and so the resident must do better than the previous year's residents who scored, and so to outperform the number of residents, that is really where the scores come in place. So this has all been abstract, but let's say we wanted to go from a score of 160 to 180. So the resident has to do better than 154 residents next time. And then to go from a score of 180 to 200, they have to do better than 374 residents next time. So this is not a small feat or small number, and it requires significant advanced planning. And we're going to give you some of that. Additional knowledge needs. So to get this 20 point jump, we talked about how many people we need to score better, but this is going to require about 50 more correct answers than the previous year. And on a test of 320 some questions, 50 more correct questions is a jump. And that's what we're hoping for. So we're going to provide you monthly lectures by attendees and fellows who are prepped about high yield topics. We are bringing in some of our prior excellent lectures that have been done in the past, but this will, so we have some very kind MFM fellows, some very kind gyn-onc fellows, some excellent REI attending, some fantastic generalists, and really we want to make this 1 hour of your time each month worth it to you. And so to help you continue to learn, we're going to be sending weekly questions to your email. This has not started yet, but our hope is that that you'll do the questions, and for those who answer the most questions correctly, and for those who answer the most questions, period, you'll be receiving a small token of my appreciation. We'll be doing a practice CREOG before the actual CREOG. We'll be talking about test taking tips and strategies to do well on the CREOG. I'll be debriefing with most people after the examination, and what I really hope is that we can get everyone to a level where they feel comfortable and they can pass the written examination with ease in the future. So thanks for your time. We're going to switch to a different video looking at urogynecology, and again, I'm sorry I couldn't be there. Thank you.